On today's CHGO White Sox episode, I was all excited to talk about Roch Cholowsky's second homer of the college baseball season. And then he hit a third. Let's talk about it on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio West of our West Loop offices here in downtown Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, Chloe. See, she's not in the rhythm with Sarah. Sarah usually says hi. Chloe's silent.
I can't compete with Sarah.
You can't, which is fair. Sarah's putting a lot of work here at CHGO. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. And if you do have any thoughts, let us know in the comment section. On today's show, we will be talking about the Twins losing Pablo Lopez to an arm injury. We will discuss how that affects the White Sox and how they might finish out in the AL Central. We'll compare the Sox to the Minnesota Twins. I think this will then just lead to me comparing the Sox to the Guardians, to the Royals, to the Tigers. I think that makes the most sense. Then we will talk about the best one-and-done signings in White Sox history. We did get the news during yesterday's show that Mike Tauchman is signing a minor league deal with the Mets. I do think, I was taken a little aback by it. Wasn't really sure what to say for Mike Tauchman. I feel like we've been able to put together what his 2025 season was actually like with this graphic that we put together. We'll talk about that later in the show. We'll also talk about how they'll have another starting right fielder on opening day for another season. We'll talk about that and second base. And then finally, I was going to talk about Roch Cholowsky. He had a home run in his first at-bat today against Tulane. And then just now, he hit another home run, I believe, in the bottom of the sixth inning against Tulane in the eighth inning, or in a 6-4 game. Very, very exciting stuff. Shout out to Roch Cholowsky. I feel bad even typing up Justin LeBron's name in a headline yesterday, but oh well, we move on. All right, going over to Dan Hayes, Twins writer over at The Athletic. It seems like a miracle second opinion would prevent Pablo Lopez from undergoing Tommy John surgery and missing the 2026 season. He could miss the 2026 season, and an MRI revealed a significant tear. So again, outside of a second magical opinion that says Pablo Lopez is healthy, it does seem like the Twins have absolutely lost their second arm, their second top starting arm before the season has even started. And when you look at the Sox rotation, I do think that this at least creaks the door open for the White Sox to not finish in last place. Ever since, I think, 2022, when they were 81-81, they haven't been able to avoid last place. It's been fairly dreadful for us White Sox fans. Ever since 2021 winning the division, 2020 getting in via wild card, it's been a complete incompetent mess. 324 losses over the past 3 years. Our damn Wi-Fi isn't working. I thought you guys were all making this up, but now it's actually not working. So there you go. But yeah, no, they finished fourth out of fifth. My bad. In 2023, but then the past 2 years they've been in fifth place. It'd just be nice to not be in the basement. Chloe unknowingly used the term rock bottom in today's headline. And hey, we did rock bottom to get Roch Cholowsky, and we want to avoid rock bottom ever again. We have faced 121 losses, faced 101, faced 102. It does seem like the White Sox can't avoid 100 losses this year, and a lot of it's going to be the work that they do within the division. The Tigers got stronger, but with the addition of Framber Valdez. But I think Lopez going down, it just makes an already deflating Twins team that seems to be sellers and could sell off pieces like Joe Ryan, Byron Buxton that they were considering trading. And I think they could take an even more significant step back. If the White Sox are able to hit their 80th, 90th percentile outcomes and finish around 75 to 78 wins, it is possible that they're able to avoid last place. I think the PECOTA projection on the Twins was 80 and 82. 80 wins seemed high for the Twins, but now with Lopez being out, seems drastically high. It seems like the Twins could be a team that, finishes around 70 to 72 wins, especially now having Derek Shelton as their manager. I'm not entirely sure how he will do. He was in a pretty dreadful organization before going to Minnesota with the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I thought Baudelli was doing a decent job, so we'll have to see. Comparing the rotations, the Twins to the White Sox, Shane Smith coming in, projected to put up 2 F-WAR as the Sox, quote-unquote, ace, if you think there's 30 aces in Major League Baseball. Joe Ryan, the Twins, quote-unquote, ace, 3.1 F-WAR, so there's obviously a clear difference there between Smith and Ryan. But how long will Ryan even pitch for the Twins? By July, will he be dealt to a contending team, especially if Minnesota is going to be a near bottom place team in the AL Central? You compare the 2 starters. Davis Martin projected to give you 1.5 WAR, Bailey Ober 1.8 WAR. I really like Bailey Ober. I think that he could be above a 2 WAR player. 6'8", very long, has a decent pitch mix. I don't think that it's impossible that Ober has a better season than Martin, but still Martin not that far behind Ober, and Martin has consistently been able to put up 160 innings pitch, where Ober, I do think that he has a little bit of injury concerns, I think, from the past. Then you look at the third pitchers. Sean Burke projected to have 1.1 F-WAR, Simeon Woods Richardson 1.4 WAR. Woods Richardson has more experience under his belt, so maybe there will be less of a jump for him to have success in the major leagues, but I do think that Burke is a more interesting project. Burke obviously has the height advantage to himself. He has such a great fastball. I'm interested in Burke. I think 1.1 F-WAR is a kind projection there. I think that he can have a better season than Simeon Woods Richardson, though. You look at Fetty. Fetty is projected to have the worst season for the White Sox, 0.6 WAR. You compare that to the worst pitcher for the Twins. That would be Simeon Wood Richardson at 1.4. If not comparing him to him, we haven't compared him to a player to Taj Bradley yet. Bradley projected to be 1.6 WAR. The main thing with, Ober, even Simeon Wood Richardson, Bradley, and even Zebby Matthews, that we'll get to it in a second, all of these guys have a decent ability to be, maybe 2s or 3s, where the White Sox guys are mainly 4s and 5s. But the issue with Bradley, the issue with Wood Richardson, at least in the past, is they haven't been able to even show a 4th or 5th, right? So they have a pretty high ceiling, but the floor is also fairly low, where I do think Burke has a fairly higher floor. The ceiling just might not be that high. It seems like the White Sox may have more consistency, and I also think the Fetty one's a little bit understated. I think the White Sox might be able to fix Fetty, maybe not to a 3.1 F-WAR tune as he was with the White Sox in 2024, but to something at least more respectable than 0.6 WAR. Then you look at the lineups. This is by projected lineup, so this is not best player to worst player. This is more just projected order, I think, versus left-handed pitching. But they're projecting Majdroff to be the leadoff hitter for the White Sox, projected at 2.1 WAR. The Twins projected leadoff hitter Byron Buxton, 3.6 WAR. Buxton came into camp saying that he found it weird that the Twins were floating his name out at the trade deadline, saying that, he's felt fairly open with the organization about how he wants to stay a Twin his entire career, and the fact that they were dangling him out at the deadline didn't feel good for him. I wonder if that is a fractured relationship, and I do wonder if Buxton, obviously his health issues have been apparent throughout his career. He hasn't really been able to contribute to the Twins on a year-out, year-in basis because of his injuries, but when healthy, a phenomenal player. I do wonder if the Twins look to trade him, and that would obviously be a massive blow for them come June or July when they do deal their former franchise player. That could have massive impacts outside of the player or lack of talent that they replace him with. Outside of that, you look at the second player in the lineup, Teal 2.1 projected F-WAR, Luke Keeschel of the Twins 3. F-WAR projected. I think that's fairly high on Keeschel. I know he's a very thought of, lauded prospect, and I think he plays decent defense, which gives him a decent floor to at least hit if he plays, top end defense. And he hit well when he was up with the Twins last year. But 3 WAR, they've Colson projected a 2.5 WAR, Munetaka Murakami a 2.2 WAR. Keeschel has that high of a floor already at 3 WAR. That seems fairly optimistic. I don't know. But you look at Colson, third player for the Sox, 2.5 WAR. Compare that to Josh Bell, who I wanted, 1.2 WAR. You obviously take that difference there. Vargas compared to Matt Wallner, both projected to get 2.1 WAR. Benny projected to get 0.5 WAR, but obviously we think that Luis Angel Acuna might get more reps than Benny, especially if Benny is mainly just a right-handed platoon bat. But 0.5 WAR projected for Benny. Ryan Jeffers projected to be 2.3 WAR. Munetaka Murakami, 2.2 projected FWAR. Trevor Larnach, 0.9 FWAR. I talked about this yesterday. I do think Munetaka Murakami is being fairly, quote-unquote, underrated. I don't really think that Mune is going to be around a 2.2 player. It does seem like he has a major league swing. The more and more he trains against velocity, I think the more and more successful he will be. I do think he will be the White Sox best player in 2026. So the fact that he is projected to be one of 5 players to be around 2.1 WAR is fantastic. Mydroth, Teal, Colson, Vargas, Mune, all around 2.1, highest being Colson at 2.5. But I do think that Mooney can be a 3 WAR player. The Twins right now have 2 quote-unquote 3 WAR players projected in Buxton and Keishel, but I think Munetaka can easily be in that echelon. Then you see Austin Hayes, 0.9 WAR. If we do want to combine Benny and Hayes together, if they would be the left-handed platoon or left field platoon, that would be around, 1.4 WAR, which compares similar or at least better to what they have in left field and Larnach at 0.9 WAR. Royce Lewis is on this lineup for the Twins. He, similar to Buxton, has been just hampered with injuries, just absolutely decimated with injuries. So while Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton, they are phenomenal talents, again, can you project them to be around 80 wins when their 2 best players might not be seeing the field? Again, Royce Lewis can get off to a hot start and in 5 games into the year be rounding second base, and we've seen it plenty of times with Luis Robert Jr., just suffer terrible fate. It's a tough guy to put your kind of hopes into if you're a Twins fan, either Buxton or Royce Lewis. And then you have Brooks Baldwin, the last 2 players here for both teams, projected to be 1.2 WAR player. Again, he's mainly going to be a bench player, I think, but he should be able to produce a decent amount for the White Sox. Victor Caratini is the DH for the Twins. That shouldn't go that well. He is a switch hitter outside of, unlike Luis Angel Acuna, but both Baldwin and Caratini projected 1.2 WAR. That doesn't really add up to me. And then Caro projected 0.6 WAR compared to Brooks Lee, who is a switch hitter, 1.5 WAR. I think Caro is going to be higher than that. Caro is going to get around 500 plate appearances, and if he's around a 0.6 or a 0.5 WAR player in 500 plate appearances, the White Sox have a problem. So I don't know if I'm really vibing with the idea that the Minnesota Twins are going to be that much better than the White Sox. The Twins bullpen is also much worse now that they've traded Johan Duran. Now that they've traded, although he didn't look good. Who's the kid's brother? Now I can't even think of Louis Varland, right? They traded Louis Varland to Toronto. I mean, Toronto used him a ton in the World Series and he looked terrible. But then they also dealt Griffin Jacks to Tampa. So their bullpen is fairly decimated. The Sox should have a decent bullpen. And if you're relying on Buxton and Lewis, they're just very fragile people. And that's just very tough to, put those eggs into those baskets. And I do think the White Sox are being fairly underrated. I think Shane Smith can put up more than 2 WAR. I think Sean Burke can put up more than 1.1 WAR. I think Fetty can put up more than 0.6 WAR. I think that the Sox are trying to build, again, find teams or find players that they can put up 2 WAR consistently. And I think they've done a decent job of that this offseason. Not a great job, but a decent job. We're going to go to the comments real quick. We got about a minute before we hit our first break. Then we'll talk about the best one-and-done signings in White Sox history. We'll talk about second base and right field, how it's just been so inconsistent for the White Sox on a year-in, year-out basis when it comes to opening day lineups. And then we'll talk about Roch Cholowsky, who not only hit 1 homer, but 2 homers. We do have Ellie hanging out with us. Hi, Sean. Sorry I haven't watched live, but I've been watching the podcast. No problem. People work. People have lives. Appreciate you hanging out with us. I'm DeBaron saying I'm seeing people saying the Twins having in the high 70s or low 80s win-wise, which seems like lofty goals for them. I completely agree. Again, when you have 2 players like Lewis and Buxton, it's just tough to truly project what they can do. 3.6 WAR would be fantastic, and I think Buxton could probably put that up in 90 games. But then again, can he play 90 games? Can you expect that from Royce Lewis? And then what are you putting in if Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton don't perform? I know they traded Edouard Julien to the Colorado Rockies. That was a nice player to have as a backup, but hey, now he's in Colorado and Chloe's got a new favorite player. So hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We will talk about the best one and done signings for the White Sox since 1995, where Mike Tauchman fits into that. And we'll talk about Roch Cholowsky here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if that reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi kept its price for 5 whole years? That is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense that lets you stream the game even when the whole family is online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part is there's no annual contract, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from me, a person that has gone through a ton of ups and downs in the past 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, and then it all gets torn down. But your Wi-Fi, that should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. So lock in your price today and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Huel. Huel is the great way to get what you need on the go. Their Black Label ready-to-drink protein drinks are a lifesaver here at the office when I am forgetful and I forget my lunch. A meal on the go, a lunch on the go for me. This has been an absolute lifesaver in 2026. But maybe you're a protein head. Maybe you're hitting the gym. I don't know what they call it, lunkheads. Maybe you're a gym rat and you're trying to hit macros. This is perfect for that. You get 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. It's gluten-free. It's under $5 a meal, and it's a complete meal that you can literally grab and go. So if you are trying to make your workout quick and easy, efficient, you can get in and out, and Huel is a great way to give you that boost. So go check out Huel today at Huel.com/White Sox 15 and get 15% off online with our code White Sox 15 for new customers only. And thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting our show. Huel.com/White Sox 15 is where you go check out their great product. If you're busy, this is a game changer. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. If you have any thoughts on the on the White Sox, not on CH. I mean, if you have thoughts on CHGO, let us know. But if you have any thoughts on the White Sox, let us know in the chat. We do have a spring training trip coming up here on March 5th through the 8th, presented by our friends over at Shady Rays. Use code CHGO to get 35% off polarized sunglasses. We'll be there on the 5th through the 8th. We are watching a Sox game on the 6th. It is the overlaps with the golf tournament, but you can go to allchgo.com/events to check out the a la carte menu if you do want to just go to the White Sox game specifically, or if you want to buy the entire pass, you can go to allchgo.com/events. Let's get into Mike Tauchman. Tauchman signs a minor league deal with the Mets. I think this is pretty decent for him. It seems like he'll have a chance to actually just win the right field job to start opening day with the Mets in 2026. Carson Bench is a highly thought of prospect for the Mets, but I do think that Tauchman is just being fairly underrated. A player that nearly put up 2 WAR for the White Sox last year, 356 on base percentage. People drawing comparisons to Luis Arraez, who is the on base merchant, and Tauchman's on-base percentage is like 30 points higher, and Arraez is getting a 12-year deal where Tauchman's getting a minor league deal. Arraez obviously plays second base, so it's different players there, but Tauchman should be able to get a starting job in right field, and I'm glad it's with the Mets. I think that he'll be able to last throughout the season as long as he's healthy with the New York Mets, and that's a big thing why the White Sox didn't bring him back. There wasn't a guarantee that Mike Tauchman would play. I think that was the thing last year, too, is, they wanted Mike Tauchman to play for 140 games or something like that, something near that. And with his injuries, he just wasn't able to be out there consistently, wasn't able to be healthy. So it was just, a sore feeling because he did produce very well when he was out on the field, to the point where I was curious. In the wild card era since 1995, which players have been the best one and done for the Chicago White Sox? So these are players that are not drafted by the Chicago White Sox, that played one season on a 1-year deal and then either was traded in the offseason to go play for another team. And there's some ones that work very cleanly for this. I think we have the graphic if you want to show it, Chloe. The leader on this, Orlando Cabrera. we all loved 2008. Come on, it was the blackout year. Jim Thome was crushing homers. Paul Konerko still sick. Great rotation. I think Contreras was still around. Obviously, Burley just about to hit his peak with his fantastic 2009 and that July run. But Orlando Cabrera holding down the shortstop position with ALLCITY next to him at second base. Orlando Cabrera played all throughout the playoffs for the White Sox, put up 2.6 BWAR in 2008. He only played one season with the Chicago White Sox, never to return again. That was his only one-and-done season, and he did pretty well on the White Sox. So he is the best one-and-done signing since 1995 on this list as well. Kenny Lofton, he ended up being dealt to the Giants midway through the season in 2002, but in the 93 games he played for the White Sox in 2002, 259 average, 348 on-base percentage, 418 slugging percentage, and of course, since he's Kenny Lofton, he stole 22 bags on 30 attempts. So pretty good there from Kenny. 2.1 BWAR from Kenny Lofton in 2002. Then you go to 2003. This is kind of where I get a little bit caught up because Carl Everett technically isn't a one and done White Sox because we all know Carl Everett is on the 2005 World Series team and he comes back in 2004. However, he technically this doesn't even count either. My bad. He just, I love this, was dealt to the Sox in the 2003 deadline and then dealt to the Sox in the 2004 deadline with Montreal. So he doesn't count because he played 2 seasons with the White Sox. It technically wasn't a one and done. I thought he signed. I'm sorry. That was just my bad on that. I thought he started the year with the White Sox in one of them, but no, he started with Montreal in 2004 and he started with the Rangers in 2003. So Carl Everett technically doesn't count. Carl Everett was pretty good in 2003. 2010, though, lines up fairly well. Now Hall of Famer Andruw Jones in 2010 with what Mike Tauchman did. In 107 games, Andruw Jones, 230 average, 341 on base percentage, 486 slugging percentage. Jones had, 19 homers that added on to his 434 career total, 1.9 BWAR for Andruw Jones in his 2010 season with the White Sox. His last, great year. Honestly, he was decent with the Yankees after that year, 77 games, 0.9 FWAR, 126 OPS, but never played 100 games again, never got over a full WAR in a season. So Andruw Jones, best one-and-done signing outside of Mike Tauchman, who also put up 1.9 WAR, 93 games, 263 average, 356 on base percentage, 400 slugging percentage, 112 OPS. Decent defender, but as we know, just dealt with a ton of leg injuries to the point where he has the most viewed short in CHGO history, I think. Him falling up lame right at home plate. So Mike Tauchman, kind of memorable, kind of infamous, but well thought of here. Always gave his best to the White Sox. So shout out to Mike Tauchman. Let's get into one thing fairly quickly because we have about 6 minutes before the next break. Looking at last year's opening day lineup, and specifically at second base and right field, you begin to see a large pattern if you zoom out. The starting second baseman in 2025 was Lenyn Sosa. The starting right fielder in 2025 was Austin Slater. Slater obviously traded to the New York Yankees for Gage Zeal. Then Zeal dealt to the Red Sox for Sandlin and Jordan Hicks and cash. So Slater turned into something, but he's not on the team, won't be making the opening day start in right field for the White Sox in 2025, which continues a pattern. Since 2017, 2018, when Avi Garcia was the opening day right fielder in both 2017 and 2018, the White Sox have not had a back-to-back starting right fielder since 2019. Daniel Palka, the opening day right fielder in 2019. 2020, Nicky Delmonico, the opening day right fielder. 2021, Adam Eaton. 2022, Adam Pollock. No, AJ Pollock. I don't know why I said Adam. Adam Pollock. 2023, Romy Gonzalez, legend. 2024, Kevin Pillar. And then 2025, Austin Slater. And I thought that was bad, but then I just kind of forgot about second base. The White Sox haven't had a player start on opening day at second base in back-to-back years since Gordon Beckham in 2012, 2013. Beckham started in 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013, but the curse of Gordon Beckham is consistently having a new starter at second base every single effing year. You had Marcus Semien in 2014. You had Micah Johnson in 2015. You had Brett Lowry in 2016. You had Tyler Saladino in 2017. You had Yohan Moncada in 2018. Moncada then shifts over to third base, opening up a spot for Yolmer Sanchez in 2019. You have then Leury Garcia in 2020, be your opening day second baseman in 2020. Then Madrigal comes in 2021. Then Josh Harrison comes in 2022. Somehow Cesar Hernandez is not on this list. In 2023, it's Elvis Andrus. Then in 2024, it's Nicky Lopez. 2025, it's Lenyn Sosa. You assume 2026 will be Chase Meidroth. And then, if they pick Cholowsky, who we'll talk about, Cholowsky's so damn good, he might be the shortstop, moving, maybe Colson over to second base. That seems fairly absurd. Maybe Bonnemer's ready at that point. There is a way that 2026 opening day second baseman Chase Meidroth is not the opening day second baseman for the White Sox in 2027 with the depth that they do have in the middle infielder. But yeah, Chase Meidroth can either stop the ongoing 12-year drought of lack of consecutive opening day starts by a second baseman in 2027, or he will continue a very, very long and not vital line. It's not very a proud thing to be a White Sox second baseman. But yeah, it's pretty sad. Woohoo. Anyways, we're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. None of the other spots are that bad because Benny should probably be on opening day left field. He's made 3 of the past 4 spots. Robert has held down center field very consistently since 2020. That's obviously going to change, but there's been a lot of gray there. Vaughn and Abreu were there for a very long time, and then Konerko. So you've really only had 3 first basemen since 2001. It was Greg Norton? Yeah. Greg Norton was the first baseman on opening day in 1998. Frank Thomas DH'd. So there's a weird Greg Norton year there in 1998, but pretty much from 91 to 2025, you had 4 first basemen. And then, yeah, it's third base looks okay. Vargas is going to be back. They had Moncada very consistently there. Shortstop looks a little weird there. Leury started in 2022, but should have been Tim. TA consistently 2017 to 2023 was their starting shortstop. Colson should be hopefully the 2027 opening day shortstop, if not Cholowsky making a huge impact here. And then catcher. It's a little weird because Brzezinski was obviously there from 05 to 2012 as the opening day starter. And then Tyler Flowers is there. But it doesn't feel good looking at Narvaez, Castillo, McCann, Grandal, Maldonado, and Lee. Thank God for Kyle Teal and thank God for Edgar Caro. Maybe it's a good problem if you have Caro and Teal switching off every single year from now into 2040. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. I see Amda Barron mentioning, I don't miss the Mark Kotsay and Andrew Jones platoon. Shout out to the first ever White Sox tweet that talks about the addition of Mark Kotsay. I think it was July 23rd, 2009. They were tweeting July 28th, 2009, the day Burley pitches in Minnesota, goes 45 straight, retired to extend the major league or to set the major league record. But the first ever tweet is, after the Mark Kotsay acquisition, Kenny Williams is still staying busy on the phone. And that is from the actual White Sox account. So shout out to that. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast, and we will answer SportsVid's 2686 question on have we seen Roch's performance today? Yes. We'll take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We want to let you know about our great sponsors like our friends over at Hooters. Every Tuesday in February, like today, your wing cravings can make a difference. Hooters is donating a portion of chicken wing sales to Holy Family Schools, helping fund tuition, books, classroom supplies, and more for kids in under-resourced communities. So if you have a hankering for some of the best buffalo wings out there, go check out Hooters. With support of our Chicagoland Hooters family, they've raised over $1 million since 1992, and you can help them keep it going because kids can't fly without wings. So go get buffalo wings at Hooters. You can also quench your thirst with the drink of the month. The Tito's Strawberry Lemonade is a refreshing blend of Tito's handmade vodka, lemonade, and a splash of strawberry puree. Only $8 all month long at Hooters. And the weekday lunch specials are fantastic if you're trying to get something out of the office. Weekdays just got better with some of your Hooters favorite for $9.99 or less, like boneless wings, OG wings, blackened chicken Caesar salad, and the original burger, and more, available Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Cheer on your favorite Chicago teams at one of the 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations. Shout out to Oak Lawn, my hometown. Check them out at originalhooters.com. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Ray. Ray Chevy is conveniently located at Fox Lake on Route 12. If you want to go check them out during the auto show sales event, they are going to get you in with Ray's Price Promise, because the price you see is the price you pay. They have made car shopping very, very simple, and you could stop in today and drive home with 0% financing for 72 months on all new Chevrolet models because of the auto show sales event. You can also check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you'll be sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you'll know you'll get a great deal. You'll know that, especially with Ray's Price Promise. The price you see is the price you pay. You could shop confidently with our friends over at Ray Chevy. So go check out their auto show sales event going on all month long for 0% financing for 72 months on all new Chevrolet models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake on Route 12 or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us in the chat, even if you're my Uncle Jeff trolling me about Matt Shaw. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. And we will talk about Sports Vid's 2686 question. Have we seen Roch Cholowsky's performance today so far? Hell yeah. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this stupid college player. I understand that I made the sin of putting Justin LeBron in the headline of yesterday's show. Hey man, sometimes that's what people are talking about. That's what people are interested in. It was not supposed to be bait. It was not supposed to be, making the point of him. It's with a C. It's pronounced rock, but it's Roch. Before I put that on the screen, Chloe. But this is, I think, I'm so damn excited for this kid. The one thing that I was reading over here, you don't see sports magazines anymore, but they have the top 50 prospects, and they talk about his biggest strength is his lack of weakness. The word we used yesterday was consistency. It seems like Roch Cholowsky has an incredible head on his shoulders. Him coming from a scout background, his dad being a former major league player himself and then being a major league scout. It seems like this kid has an incredible head on his shoulders. There was a profile written by The Athletic about Roch Cholowsky and how he's pretty much leading team meetings, how he is calling out scouting plans and knows pretty much the scouting plans as well as the coach. He's pretty much another coach out on the field. It's not only is this kid a great baseball player, it seems like he is incredibly ready for this moment. Jay Hosey saying, Rockstar, Riffic 3434 says straight to Birmingham. Could he not be the starting opening day, the opening day starting shortstop in 2027? It seems like he's going to be a top 15 prospect just walking into the league. Just put him at shortstop, Move Colson over to third base. Have Mutaka Murakami at first base. We'll figure out what to do with second base. I just want to see this damn kid in a White Sox uniform. We have not only one homer to share with you, but two homers. Not the actual videos, but at least let's see this one first. Yeah, thank you, Chloe. His homer today, the first one, 111 exit velocity. And this is obviously with a metal bat, not a wooden bat. He'll still be able to hit fine. 23-degree launch angle. This is pretty much a rope. Usually 30 is like a really nice lofted ball. Anything around 20, it's a little bit higher than a true frozen rope. But anything lower around that 20-degree getting out is very, very impressive. He hits this thing on an absolute line. And then if you want to go to the second one for Roch, the side-by-side, the thing that impresses me the most is his ability to stay on his back for what seemingly is the last possible second. This is all from the same at-bat. This is all from the first home run. This is the Zapruder film of Roch Cholowsky's second home run of the year. The Nike logo, and you could see it on the right picture, the Nike logo on the front of his pants doesn't really turn out towards the pitcher until he starts whipping that bat. And you could even see the bend in the bat on that picture on the right. But he stays so far on his back leg until the last possible moment. And we talked yesterday about the inside-out swing, how it is similar to Alex Bregman. He's able to get that barrel out so fast from such a loaded position. it is it should be in like a baseball museum of swings. This kid just seems extremely, extremely polished. Again, I never played further than 8th grade baseball, so I really don't know what I'm talking about here with hitting dynamics or hitting technique. But a lot of the White Sox hitters don't even hit like that. Like they just don't have that clean of technique. And I think James Fox described him as a airplane freight ship, like what's it called? When you have the jet fighters flying off those ships. Anyways, those big military ships. He's like that thing at shortstop. Battleship, I think. Pretty much what they use on Battleship. Aircraft carrier. Great. Well, I barely got it. Yeah, so aircraft carrier. He's built like a damn aircraft carrier. And then what he does in the 8th inning, I believe, it's 6-4 UCLA against Tulane. He launches a 2-strike fastball over the right field wall for his second bomb of the day. And from a video from Matthew Nauer, who is currently at school at UCLA, tweets a video from behind home plate. And he's actually, if you look at that picture that we just had up, that frame is from the second picture. That frame is from his video. That second photo is from a frame of his video. Whatever. But the immediate reaction from Cholowsky after he rounds first base is pointing and yelling at a Tulane fan. And Matt says, fan on the Tulane side has been chirping Cholowsky all game. Roch let him know how he felt when rounding first. And you see Cholowsky really just calling out this guy. Not only is he a great baseball player, not only is he able to just back it up, he just seems ready for the moment. I don't know if people have been watching the Olympics. Ilya Malinin tried to win the gold medal in men's figure skating. And during the free skate, he pretty much had an easy path to victory. And he ended up losing 70 points on jumps and not even finishing in the top 3. I think he finished in 8th place. Like he had, I think about if he completed those 70 points, right? He would have had like a 30-point lead over second place. So he easily could have cruised to the gold medal. But what he said to his father while he was waiting his scores was, this is why they should have sent me in 2022, because I would have been ready for this moment. The moment wouldn't have been too big. And that's the thing with at least Cholowsky. It doesn't feel like the moment will ever be too big. It always feels like this has been building up for him. And even with Malin, his parents are former figure skaters that have been to the Olympics before. So he's bred from a similar path that Cholowsky is as well. But the thing about baseball is the grind and being able to withstand it day in and day out. And I think that Cholowsky is built for that grind. And it does seem like he might not be ready for the moment on July 9th, 2028, right? But come postseason, this guy will be absolutely locked in. I'm thrilled. I can't wait. There really isn't anyone else that I'm thinking about. It's just Cholowsky, and seemingly from the Future Sox podcast, it seems like the White Sox are fairly keyed in on taking and selecting Roch Cholowsky with the number 1 overall pick come July. And obviously, we're only 4 games into Cholowsky's UCLA season. But when we've talked to Joe Doyle, we played the clip yesterday. When we talked to Jeff Ponce, it's rare for a player to go poll to poll and be the number 1 thought of prospect to start a college season and then finish the college season as still the number 1 prospect. But Cholowsky hitting 3 home runs in his first 4 games, pretty damn good. Helps his damn case. Looks like superstar. I can't wait for him to be in a White Sox pinstripes. Let's go. Really can't sum that out without sounding like a true meatball. But I am absolutely and utterly thrilled and excited to be a Roch Cholowsky fan here on the South Side. Final one. The big news today in Major League Baseball that broke around 8 a.m. is that MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark stepped down from his position. We've been talking about the looming lockout for Major League Baseball and the Player Association. And Clark has been the executive director, I think, since 2013. He has been a very controversial figure because while Tony Clark seems to be very respectable, it never feels like the players have truly gotten what they've wanted. And then I think R.M. Layton was talking about this, that there has been a decent amount of pushback from players within the MLBPA to get Tony Clark to resign. They get their wish in a way today with Tony Clark stepping down. However, around 2 p.m., Jeff Passan tweeted out the reasoning for Tony Clark stepping down, and former MLB PA executive director Tony Clark stepped down after what's it called? It's an affair. An affair with a staffer. The other issue is the staffer's sister-in-law. So not only is he relating or having relations with a coworker, it's also assumedly his wife's sister. So Tony Clark got himself into a fairly big pickle today. So way to go, Tony. That's one way to lose your job. Pretty impressive and historic way to be a complete idiot for all of America and your family to see. So good job to Tony Clark and his sister-in-law for making asses of themselves. And some people in Major League Baseball, especially the players, might be very, very excited that Tony Clark is stepping down. They did not replace Tony Clark just yet. They had a 4:30 call by MLBPA leadership, and it ended without voting on an interim executive director to replace Tony Clark. The union is expected to hold a vote as soon as tomorrow. However, the hope, sources said, is to have someone in place by then. And I think Ken Rosenthal also following up by saying that the union's player leadership did not vote on today on whether Bruce Meyer will replace Tony Clark as the head of the union. Chris Bassett said, "I feel like we have made mistakes in the past by making rash decisions. The executive subcommittee and all the reps agreed we want to get this right. We don't want to get it done just because there's a void." This is obviously a very, very important position that needs to be filled. I don't know exactly who fits the bill. Joey Votto came to mind, but now he's going to be doing media stuff. Does Joey Votto walk away from NBC to step up as the executive director of the Players Association? Someone threw out Trevor May. Trevor May is very smart, but can he run a union? Like, that seems like a fairly high step up. So we'll see who the players pick to be the executive director of the player union, but hopefully they're not sleeping with their sister-in-law so they don't get fired. It's apparently a very hard ask for some people. The sacrament and holiness of marriage and matrimony is not enough for people. No, you gotta go, hanging out with your sister-in-law. I mean, like, if you're Tony Clark's PR people, are you not just embarrassed? It's like, man, you got fired and you got fired for this. Like, Tony Clark better get himself a divorce lawyer. Jesus. And I mean, sometimes people stay with the people that they cheat on. So, like, is it still going to be the same family Christmas, but just like Tony Clark's arriving with the sister rather than his wife? Just seems messy.
You have to wonder if she's more upset with him or her sister.
I think she probably wants to kill both.
Yeah.
You'd assume. Because it's like, it's not just your husband cheating on you. It's also your sister's scumbag. So it's a double whammy. Yeah. Yikes. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. to talk more about the White Sox. Hopefully there'll be more from spring training that we can talk about. We'll do some more team previews, side-by-sides between the White Sox and other foes in the AL Central. We'll likely look at the Guardians next, and then we'll go up the ladder to the Royals and Tigers, but we'll see you then. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you to Chloe for producing the show. I'm Sean Anderson. Good. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.